and to welcome onto the show the new offensive coordinator and play caller here in D.C., David Blough is with us. David, it's G&D. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Doing great.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, congrats. What a cool thing for you. So you wasn't that long ago. We saw you playing for the Cardinals in 22, and you were in the league as a quarterback thereafter, and now you're getting a chance to run your own shop as a coordinator. What's the last few weeks in this whirlwind been like for you?
Man, it's been great. I have felt DQ's belief in me every step of the way. I've kind of been filling my buckets, filling the time buckets with evaluations of free agents coming, our own roster, the draft after that, and then also engineering, what we want this offense to look like for 2026.
What does it mean to you? You mentioned that belief. It's got to be pretty incredible because, as Grant mentioned, you were in the league playing football just a couple of years ago, and here you are running an offensive side of the building. What does that belief mean to you?
Sure. DQ from my first day here, my first interview even for the assistant quarterback coach job, he has had an intentional plan for my development. He's been around a lot of gifted young coaches, and he has, from my first day in the building, had a plan for me to be sitting in the seat that I'm in. So I'm incredibly thankful and grateful to just be able to, give them everything I got, and with regard to that, and put our players in a position to be successful.
David Blough's the new play caller and first-time coordinator with the Commanders, joining us on Grant and Danny. You get into coaching just a couple of years ago with Cliff after you finish your career playing with him. Are you surprised that it happened this quickly? Because you were an assistant quarterbacks coach beginning of last year, never even technically you did the duties at the end of the year, but that's a job
Sure.
you got interviewed for. So you make like a three-pronged leap. There are OCs that don't call plays sometimes before there are OCs that call plays. Like what's
Sure.
your confidence in the leap that you're making? Because it's sizable.
Yeah, I heard you say the word surprised, and I don't think that is the emotion I felt. I think it's more grateful, and it's kind of driven me to action with regard to the urgency of getting this thing with the vision and direction that I kind of see it going. And so I think it's been a really fun experience over the last month. I think looking at it, as a puzzle to solve with regard to putting our guys in the best position possible has been a really stimulating challenge, that I kind of gets me out of bed in the morning.
What do you want to run? You've been around some really, really sharp offensive minds, and again, that's the billion-dollar question for all of us Rube fans who just have to wait to see it. But
Sure.
There's a lot of influences on your style. Again, you've been around some really, really good minds, and you obviously have one yourself. What do you like? What are your proclivities, and like what kind of thing do you want to do?
I think any good coach that I've seen has taken the good every stop of the way. At the end of the day, man, every decision we're making as an offensive staff is with Jayden on the forefront of our mind, putting him in the best position possible to get our offense in an advantageous position and really stress defenses, because that's what it is about at the end of the day, where people have to defend all 53 and a third wide, 100 long, and make sure that our guys, when we got to have it most, are ready to roll.
David, are you building a playbook and going to call plays, and you just mentioned with Jayden in mind, like in a way that is to put Jayden Daniels on the best pedestal possible? Or are you going to do that the way you would have done it before you got this first job anywhere, and then tweak things to Jayden Daniels? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I think I understand what you're asking, and I think I'd be foolish, man, to just say, hey, this is how I do things, and that would be a foolish approach to the whole thing. So really, over the last 2 years, I've been able to see what he does really well. There have been conversations over the last 2 years to say, hey, what do you like? What do you don't like? And as we're in this process of engineering the offense, constructing it, he's got a role in that. And then it's some of the convictions that I have that I know that we can add to his game. I wouldn't say it's things that are hard that he hasn't done before, but it's different things that we can ask him to do that I think can help us put our group in a good spot.
David Blough and Grant and Danny. Yeah, give us an idea of like ways that you think maybe you could tweak things to help him. And then also, there's a reason Cliff's not here, I suppose. And year one was incredible. Year two was still pretty good, I thought, but obviously not to the standard. But, Dan Quinn has a vision of what he wants this to look like. Like, what do you think needs to change, either for Dan Quinn to get what he wants out of this or for Jayden to take those steps that are necessary?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like when you see our unit take the field in 2026, you're going to see, like a play style who's off the screen. And that's, I want the speed and violence that DQ preaches to our group to come through on the tape. And, man, Cliff was incredibly gracious to me. Like he just incredibly patient, incredibly gracious, and let me into his brain. And there's a lot of things that he did really well here that I want to help continue to implement. And then there will be changes with regard, hey, if we're putting him under center more, if we're running a couple different outside zone schemes or whatever, and we can run the play actions and the keepers and those things off of it, I think that as much as we can, getting our offense into premier plays will be advantageous for our group.
David, what was this year like in your previous role as a quarterbacks coach, working with Jayden? It's got to be so frustrating for the young man who've been hurt so much and not be able to help the way that he wanted to. And I know he's so competitive, and all you guys are at the highest levels of the sport. What was it like going through this year after so much success in year one?
I think, he had a rough year, and I think, getting to go through those challenges with him, be alongside of him, lift him up, encourage him, help add value to him, help him grow is what the fun part of coaching is. And you get to help build the man more than the player per se. I know we're kind of judged by the results on the field, but the impact that's really felt is kind of how we can help the man off.
David, what are the first steps, actually? I'm curious, like in building a playbook. I mean, you guys have the Cliff Kingsbury playbook. So do you keep that and now just add your own pages, or like David Blough has not had one, or maybe you did, maybe you built one when you were a backup quarterback. Like, what is the first few days of that looking like in terms of building your offense?
Yeah, I think that's how we've spent a lot of our time over the last month is what exactly we want that to look like. And, there will be some things that may get scrapped, and there will be some things that you keep as much continuity as possible to help the guys with, not starting from the ground level. You know what I'm saying? So, how we might have called a formation or a personnel last year could look completely different this year, but the route on the play could be the same. So there's not complete new learning. And then at that point, it's on us as coaches to creatively and concisely teach in a way that is just allows them to go play free and fast on the field.
In terms of, again, what things are going to look like, I want you to go back to your playing career as you are observing and watching and learning like a sponge. I mean, everybody that we talk to and different stops would just rave about your curiosity, your intellect, your ability to pick things up and know what everybody was supposed to do. Did you always kind of have an eyeball towards whenever you're done playing the game that you love so much that you wanted to teach, that you wanted to be a coach?
Yes, and I'll say, it's kind of grown at every level I played at. In high school, I wanted to be a high school coach because I had great influences there, and then the same in college, and then in the NFL, you get to the best chess match in the world, and I've been fortunate to have coaches who have let me into that chess match, whether it's designing plays as a player or, hey, this is why we're doing the things that we're doing, and that kind of sparked the flame that was like, okay. You can impact the men in the locker room and be a good influence and role model for the man, but you can also create something that you can be proud of as a coach and develop what I hope Jayden's running for a long time here.
David, influences. You've mentioned, and I know it stands to reason, Kevin O'Connell, Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury, some of those guys, right? But I remember talking to Sean McVay about this when he said Kyle Shanahan had Mike and he had John Gruden, and everyone has someone that they're going to call when they run into something that probably isn't in the league currently. Do you have that mentor? Like, who's that guy for you that when you're running into some things midweek, maybe it is someone in the league, but you might hit up and say, hey, help me out here?
That's a great question. I haven't ever, heard it phrased that way, and I'm sure there will be those kind of, roadblocks that I run into, but I've been really fortunate, man. Whether it's coaches who are still currently in the league, I guess to answer your question, I wouldn't say that I have somebody like that, but got a lot of people that I know if I call, they'll pick up the phone.
Who's somebody that you guys currently have on the roster that you're just obviously Jayden Daniels super well, but sort of besides that in terms of the talent or somebody that you can unlock, you feel like there's somebody that wait till you see what this guy does in my system or scheme. Is there somebody that you've got in mind?
I'll kind of give you the out of left field answer that jumps to my brain, but I think everybody's going to be really excited about Josh Connerly for a long time. Played every offensive snap for us. He just trajectory on a 45-degree angle throughout the course of the 25 season. And I think his skill set will be highlighted and used as a weapon. I know people don't hear that often about the offensive lineman, but, using him creatively and allowing him to, showcase what he does really well.
David Blough and Grant and Danny here on The Fan, going to be calling plays for the first time with the Commanders, their new offensive coordinator. One thing Dan Quinn said in his press conference, which sounded like the Beatles in their prime to me, was that Jayden Daniels should be expected to be under center more in this offense. And as someone who kind of covered the Shanahans and kind of came up with that style and enjoys watching Ben Johnson's offenses, that's something a lot of us have been clamoring for around here. Is Jayden's preference, has it been to be in the gun? I know that's almost exclusively what he did in college, and then Cliff runs it at a rate that far exceeds anybody else. What are your thoughts on that transition? Caleb Williams, training camp early in the year, kind of rough patches. It's going to take some time, but give us an idea of how much under center we might see.
Yeah, I think, you mentioned some of the rates that we were in the gun and pistol this past year. I think if you see a shift, we're going to ask him to do just more under center. And, if you're 50-50 in the gun versus under center in the NFL, you're at the top of the league. So, if we get to the end of the year and we're sitting here 60-40, I'll be happy about, kind of the result of that. I think it just unlocks a little bit in the run game, and it unlocks a bit in the play actions and the keepers. And, I have mentioned it before. It's just, when you look at the teams that we're playing at the end of the year, that we want to be in that conversation with this time next year. A lot of them kind of lived under center in that world.
In terms of under center success rate and the trend of the league, I mean, look, last year this team was in the NFC Championship game doing it Cliff's way.
Yeah, that's right.
A couple of teams in the Super Bowl were in the gun, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like you can't win that way. But you do see Clint Kubiak and Seattle and the offenses that are consistent with the pop passes and the daggers in the middle of the field behind linebackers and those things. And it does look kind of similar. Why do you think that is the case? That seems to be what teams are majoring in and what everybody's looking to do more of?
Without giving away too much competitive advantage, right?
It's February. Everyone will forget.
Yeah, it'll be lost in the sauce. Yeah.
That's right. I just... man, you horizontally displace underneath players. So those throws that you see in the middle of the field, whether it's a Stafford ripping an in cut over the middle of the field, and if that guy's taking a false step at all, he's beat off initial snap, and being able to help Jayden go ahead and take a 7-step drop from under center, turn his back to the defense, sell a run action well with our guys running off the football and have our best players ripping in behind these defenders is advantageous for us. And I want to put him in that position as much as possible because his fundamentals are excellent, man, and he's an incredibly accurate passer, and we're going to just try to put him in positions where on first and second down, we can get guys as open as possible, and then he can be Superman and go, those third downs and red zone and 2 minute when he is.
David, I'm not going to stand up and cheer. I don't need a cigarette after that answer or anything. Trust me.
David, how much do you learn as an offensive mind from how defenses are attacking you? Just kind of a philosophical question. In other words, where you go, I think we're this. Well, they think we're X-1 or something different than that. It's almost like holding up a mirror to yourself that you didn't know was going to be there, if that makes sense. How much do you learn from how opponents are trying to digest and figure out what you do best?
Yeah, I think that'll kind of be the learning curve in the first couple weeks of the season as we roll through all the way through is people have to play Jayden a different way, and we have to, be a step ahead of that. And with regard to expectation with how they've played other guys that are similar, or, if there's somebody on the staff who may have done that in their past. And so, playing that chess match and trying to be one step ahead is what really stimulates me, and I know our offensive staff, of really just getting our guys in the best position possible.
We've a lot of this centers around Jayden Daniels, obviously, and David Blough with us here on G&D. I love the kid at LSU. I love him his rookie year. I love him now. I just think he's so wonderful. But the health is obviously, was this year's bugaboo. Is there a way strategically for you where you go, this may keep him healthy, even if we have to sacrifice a few design runs or a few certain proclivities or habits or things like that, where he's making the extra play to kind of keep something alive? Keeping him on the field is obviously such a paramount thing. Is there something where you feel like, obviously it's still football, but is there something that's maybe in your power and your control philosophically?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, every decision we make is going to be about him, and he'll be on the forefront of everything. So whether that is a design run coming out of the plan, or, allowing him to, some of those to happen more organically when he just drops back. Whether it's this coming April when DJ Williams, our new quarterback coach, is showing him tape of different guys getting down or getting out of bounds or throwing the ball away or, scrambling to throw rather than to run, all these different things that can come up in a game. It's just how much exposure can we have in a positive way to good examples, and then limit the exposure, I use that word in both senses, limit the exposure to the negatives that can happen on a given snap in a game.
David, I want to get back into scheme for a second, and more generically, I know you don't want to give us your first 15 from week one of the game that you guys don't have yet, but motions and shifts are like staples, right? Minnesota, Detroit, I'm trying to think of your background, but the pre-snap motions and shifts, and for Cliff, it's just not as prevalent, right? And it's all about tempo, and if guys got to move around, we're slowing down. So how do you, the verbiage seems to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it's everything has to be succinct. We're just getting to the line and we're going. How do you incorporate the motions and the shifts with still keeping a strong tempo, or is the priority more the pre-snap movement and less the tempo now, and that's going to be a change? How do you kind of marry those two?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, I've mentioned it, you take a lot of the good and the different places you've been. So as we build this, all of those decisions and conversations are being had and have been on the forefront of our mind. And I think you'll probably see more shifting in motion and in that sense. And then I think you'll also see a little bit of weaponizing the tempo that Cliff did really well. So there will be give and take in those areas for sure. Probably see our no huddle number come back down a little bit, but with anything, something else will increase because of that. And it's all about stress for the defense, man. So I want that team who puts on the tape, Monday after we play on a Sunday to be like, man, we got our hands full with this operation.
Yeah, that no huddle number is like bigger than Big 12 teams' no huddle number.
Seriously.
So it won't be that hard to lower it moving forward for David Blough. What about marrying run and pass and play action? Like, it would seem to me like the really good coordinators excel at that. It's something you hear a lot about, but explain to me as kind of a dummy on the outside, what does that really mean? That, when I talk to people in the league, they're like, well, maybe that isn't necessarily a strength of Washington's offense last year, but when you watch Ben Johnson and some of these other guys, everything looks the same. So how do you go about doing that?
I think, as we engineer this thing, as we sit here in February, as the players get back in April, as we get all the way through June, July, August, that's going to be a big part of who we are. It's what I believe in. It's what I know our guys can do really well. And I've seen it have success at a really high level. And is everything always going to marry? Probably not. But, it's at the end of the day, it's about making the same things look different and different things look the same. And that's what, that is something that I'm strongly convicted on.
David, how does Terry McLaurin fit into your plans for what you want to do?
In a big way. We've got opportunity to feature him and ask him to do what he does really well. And him and Jayden have a great relationship, and we're going to lean on him in a big way.
David, what's your take on Ben Sinnott? He was so uninvolved through 2 years, and maybe what he could become. Or what do you think of him as a player?
No, I have liked the progression of Ben. I think there's a long way to go, but he, I have a vision for him fitting a role into this offense that I think, he can excel at. And I'm excited to get him in here and challenge him in different ways and see if, what we think and know about the man can come to life on the field.
I always, and with him specifically, David, but in general, you hear Coach, I heard Durante at his press conference today talking about, finding out what guys do really, really well. And I just, someone who's that big and that strong and that fast, talking about Sinnott, there's something he does well, right? So how do you unlock that to, or maybe even add to that skill set as he grows in terms of development, but also letting him kind of thrive in the things he does do well at this point?
Yeah, I think, just philosophically, maybe it's asking him to do something different than we've asked him to do in the past, and challenging him in a way that we have this vision for him and the belief of that, like you mentioned, all the traits are there, and just trying to put him in the best possible position for him to be successful.
Really good insight from David Blough, very gracious with his time. Just a couple of moments left with us here on Grant and Danny. I guess the last football one I've got for you then is there even a way before game action to work on or sharpen your play calling skills? It only happens in game. So I don't even know how that would work. I mean, can you mock call a game with a clock next to you? How would you even get those reps?
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, man, but John Madden's grandson's on our staff, Jesse Madden, so I'll just play a bunch of Madden up until week 1, if that's okay with you guys.
Hey, let's go.
Whatever preps you. I love that.
We got a producer here who's got a Madden league. You could join his Madden league.
Now, if you win it, he'll kick you out. He gets a little butt hurt.
True.
But
you only get to stay if he beats you. All right, we're going to let you out on this. We always go rapid fire here to get to know our guests. So if you don't mind, David, we got a few off-the-wall non-football questions for you. You ready?
Okay.
All right, your eating contest food that you think you could eat the most of in a short time.
Pizza.
What's your pizza of choice?
I thought it was rapid fire.
It is.
Hawaiian with
wow.
Pineapple, yeah.
He's his own man.
That is tough.
Would you consider yourself a sharp-dressed guy or whatever's comfortable?
Whatever's comfortable.
Last show you binged or movie you saw in theater?
I love watching Survivor, season 50 coming up. Here's your plug for 2 weeks from now.
Wow, you're a Survivor,
How about
Mark.
that?
I didn't know they still existed. I love that.
50 seasons?
I'm telling you guys, if it's a competition, I'm in.
Okay.
I love that. You're not allowed to do anything football-related. Night away, relaxing time. What are you doing?
Man, just spending it with my girls, my wife and my daughter, and our second on the way.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What superpower would you want?
Read people's minds.
Ooh, that's
that
scary.
would come in handy for the offensive, defensive thing.
Very, very good.
Yeah. You're going to have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive. Who do you pick?
Wow.
That's a hard one, by the way.
I know.
That is
Put him on the
a
spot.
tough one.
That's tough.
This is not Philadelphia Eagles. 2 minutes to go.
He didn't
Pressure.
He didn't get a question that hard from DQ in the interview process.
Scotty Scheffler. I'm just trying to think of greats. Scotty Scheffler, LeBron, and Peyton Manning.
I guess Michael Jordan wasn't available. And Peyton Manning.
I took LeBron. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, very good.
Took LeBron.
I could dig that. And last one for me, just because I've got 2 girls. What's the TV show that your daughter watches that you know the theme song to and you've seen a million times?
We're kind of strict on TV in the Blough household. I'm not going to lie to you, but we like the Wiggles, man. My daughter's 2 years old. She loves the Wiggles.
The Wiggles.
That's the way to do it. You don't want to be on like the K-pop Demon Hunter every day on Netflix.
Because it never goes away.
No,
You guys are
we're
doing
straight,
it right.
like DVD player, clean as can be.
There it is. Well, seriously, David, we're excited for you, man. Congratulations.
Great to chat with you, buddy.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys.
All the best. There's David Blough, the new Commanders offensive coordinator and play caller on Grant and Danny on the Fan. He was terrific.
Yes, he was. I get it.
Yeah, good conversation. I'm excited